Hello and welcome to Cooking the Books with Heather. Today we have some beautiful fresh figs from our friend. They have several fig trees currently on their property, so there are different varieties here. And we're going to be using them for a recipe in Vivian Howard's Deep Run Roots cookbook. We've done several fig recipes in here, but not this one yet. We're going to be making Grandma Shirl's survival cookies. So let me put these back in the refrigerator so we can do something else with these because I've already prepared them for this recipe. So she says these are sort of a kind of between a granola bar and a fig Newton. They're a cookie that can sort of be healthy and maybe be for breakfast or that kind of thing. It's not super decadent type of cookie, but we'll see what we think of them. I have already measured out many of the things, but not quite everything. But these start with rolled oats. So in here I have, they're the old-fashioned oats. You don't want the instant ones. I've measured a lot of this by weight just because it was easier than getting out my measuring cups, because a lot of those were in the dishwasher from previous things we've done. But I'm going to add to these oats some dark brown sugar, coconut. This was frozen coconut, so it's a little bit wetter than some, and it kind of has got this yellow hue. I don't know, hopefully it's fine. We've got chopped pecans. I used obviously this to chop them and measure them. There we go. There are going to be some other pecans in this recipe. Those are going to go on top, so that's fine for now. This is some whole wheat flour. I had just a little bit more than that on hand, so that was a good use, trying to use up the last of it. And we need some baking soda, which I still need to measure. Just a little bit of baking soda. That's this one. There we go. And I'm going to sort of mix this up just to get it combined before we add our wet ingredients. Oh, I think I'm also supposed to put some salt in here. Oh, yep, forgot the salt. So let's do that. I'm just using the kosher salt that I keep on my counter. And now I need another bowl for my wet ingredients. So I got a whisk. Got some eggs. Now she says to use medium eggs. These are standard large eggs. You can buy medium ones, but I think there won't be a huge difference in the size between medium and large here. So I'm going to whisk these up. First a little bit, and now we're going to add some vanilla. Oops, that's a little more than the recipe calls for, but that's okay. We like vanilla. We're going to add some melted butter. I'm using unsalted, and it's has cooled down. I melted it a little while ago, so it won't scramble my eggs. I'm going to use this to make sure we get it all out of there. There we go. All right, And now we're adding the figs that I have finely chopped, kind of finely chopped them. Not super duper finely, but you know, pretty finely. There we go. And now we're going to put this, I'm going to take that off of my clean countertop and try to get all of it in here. We're going to add our wet ingredients to our dry ingredients. And she says this will be kind of wet and loose. And I did not read this instruction before, but we have to let this sit in the refrigerator before we bake them for a little while because they will be kind of wet and loose. So we're gonna get this mixed up as well as we can. There we go. And it is very wet and loose. And I think if you baked this right now, they would spread a lot. So we're going to do what she says to do, like we always try to. I don't always, but we try to. And we're going to put this in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes. And so we'll see you in 30 minutes to scoop these out and bake them. While that is sort of absorbing some of the liquid, the oats will do that. I will preheat my oven to 350, which I've already done, because that's what we're going to bake them on. And clean up. And so we'll see you in 30 minutes. My dough, if you can call it that, my cookie dough has been in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes. It's less wet. You're supposed to be able to kind of portion these out and roll them up in your hands. I'm not going to be doing that part. They're still a little bit wet, but I'm going to use my cookie scoop instead. She says to, I think, grease this pan. I'm just using parchment. That's fine. Supposed to be about a tablespoon and 2 inches apart. So I'm going to put about a dozen on this half sheet pan. And my cookie scoop means that they'll be basically rolled anyway. She says this makes 30 cookies, so I'm going to have to get another pan ready because these have to sort of sit on the pan for a little while first before you take them off. So if I want to get them all baked up in a timely manner, we're going to have a couple of sheets going, but that is fine. I'm going to put this back in the refrigerator just while I'm dealing with everything else and getting another one ready. So the only thing we have to do is, she says to press down and then put a pecan half on top, or walnuts. You could also use walnuts instead of pecans if you prefer. I'm just going to put that on and press it down with the nut because otherwise it will be messier. Yep. I'm going to put these in my 350-degree oven for 15 to 20 minutes, she says, or until they've spread out and are brown and crispy around the edges. So we're going to go for a relatively well-cooked cookie. And we will show you what they look like when they come out, but we still have to let them cool for about 10 minutes after we take them out before we can transfer these somewhere else. So I'm going to put these in the oven and get another tray ready, and we will show you what they look like, let you know how long it took us to bake them, and let you know what we think in just a minute. This is what they look like fresh from the oven. I baked mine for 20 minutes exactly. At 15, they did not look brown. See how there's sort of extra brown on the edges. There was none of that at 15 minutes. So I did another 5 minutes, and so 20 minutes is what I'm going with. On this episode of Cooking the Books with Heather, you watched me make Grandma Shirl's survival cookies. These are a fig cookie, but instead of using dried figs, you can use the fresh figs. She says the original recipe probably used dried figs, but figs in the summer here in North Carolina are very plentiful if you actually have access to a tree or a neighbor who has a tree. They will probably be giving a lot away because they come on fast and strong, and it's hard to deal with them for in the time allotted, before they go bad, because they're one of those things that has a very short shelf life. So I think we all enjoyed these. They are a relatively sweet cookie, but they do feel more like a healthy cookie. So they're a little sweeter than the peach breakfast cake that we made relatively recently. I'll link that whenever we put that up. We haven't done that yet. We haven't made it live on YouTube yet. But when it is, I'll try to remember to link it here. So it's a little sweeter, it's a little tastier than that, but it is sort of along the same lines. It's kind of like a breakfast cookie. In my house, we try to keep some breakfast cookies around for the kids when they have a short morning to try to get ready for school. And like she said, it's kind of like a granola bar or a Fig Newton. I do think I would cook mine a little longer next time. Mine were still a little bit soft. And she says she substituted fresh figs for a crispier cookie, and ours were not very crispy. So they did get a little crispy around the edges, but they did not spread out as much as I would have wanted them to, or get as crispy as I would have wanted them to. So next time I would cook them a little bit longer. They're still tasty. They're good right from the fridge. That's where I stored mine, just because they were kind of soft and I didn't want them to get moldy. So I still, in fact, have some in the refrigerator, and they're perfectly fine. But anyway, we enjoyed these. I have to be careful because I have a latex allergy, and fresh figs can exacerbate that allergy, can cause a reaction. It's a latex-like thing. So does pineapple. Anyway, I'm sure I've said this probably every time we make something with figs, but I have to be careful about that because my lips get numb if I eat too much. So I did not eat very many of these, but I did try them. But my family enjoyed them, especially with the pecans, I think. Anyway, if you've enjoyed watching me make this, please give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, share this with your friends, and let me know in the comments down below if you decide to try these, what you think.